Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be looking at the Volk T-44-100. I looked at the Vizilla yesterday, which is also bundled up with it, and yeah, well, it's a T-44 with a few slight differences. And again, you see, I'm a fan of the T-44, so I'm going to try not to come across too biased in this one. But I do like the T-44. I just think it's a good mix of mobility, armour and firepower, although it does have the second lowest pen of all the tier 8 mediums, so you do have to work a little bit harder in it sometimes to actually do well. And what they've done with this, basically it's got a gun with a couple of slight buffs to it, which I'll go into in a minute. It's got the side panels, the bazooka plates, whatever you want to call them, on the side, which do act as a bit of spaced armour. Not a lot more protection, but you know, it's still there. And it's got a redesigned turret, which is very reminiscent of the T-54 first prototype. There are only a couple of these actually made. I think it was probably an experiment into up-arming and up-armouring them. It does have a slightly smaller engine, but that is offset by the fact that it's got amazing ground resistances. And it's got a heightened, or an increased, sorry, hull traverse as well. Now it's, like I say, tier 8 premium medium. Does see up to tier 10 and has the same bonuses as the Vizilla and most of the other tier 8 medium, well, tier 8 premiums, should I say, which is 50% silver and 10% XP. And again, I'm going to get the moaning out of the way, and then I can just concentrate on the tank and the review. And again, my issue with this is the fact that it is another hero tank, which just seems to be the norm now. They basically release a hero tank version of a new tank, and then however long down the line we get the clean version. But the problem with that is that the hero tanks come with an increased price tag as well, and this is over 11,000 gold on its own, and its Tankopedia listed price is just over 10,000, so it is expensive. That is my issue with this tank, the fact that it is it's got that reskin. I honestly think with these hero tanks, if this is going to be the norm, because it wasn't the norm, you know, we'd just get new tanks, and occasionally, you know, rarely, every few months or whatever, a couple of months, we might get a new hero tank or whatever. And if this is the new norm, I really think that what Wargaming really ought to do is release the hero tank version and the clean version at the same time. If they want to do the staggered release, you know, fair enough. I don't agree with it, but it's there. You know, it's just something you have to deal with. But I think they should release the hero tank and the clean version at the same time. And you know, let's face it, the people who are going to buy the hero tank version are still probably going to buy the hero tank version, even if they have a clean one available, because they probably prefer it or whatever, and they'd probably sell more because people would be less pissed off with having to fork out whatever. You know, you'd have the option. You know, if you want the hero tank version, you pay the extra, you go for it, you get the nice perma camo, the look, whatever, all the bits on it like sandbags or foliage, whatever. If you want the clean version, save a bit of money and go for that one. And I really think that if this is the norm, like say for any new sort of premium release, that it's going to be a hero tank version and then a clean version following, that they really should release both at the same time. But anyway, that's the moaning out of the way. Price is the issue with this, again, as it is with these other hero tanks. Let's just concentrate on the tank itself. So, it's a T-44 with the LB-100. In the description it makes out as though that's something special, but the normal T-44 also has the LB, not the LB-100, sorry, the 100mm LB-1. Or you can put the 122 on the normal T-44, but I really wouldn't recommend it. But what you do get with this, like I said, is a smaller engine, 520 horsepower, which is about, it translates to about 5 horsepower per ton less on the power to weight ratio. But you do get an increase in rate of fire. It's 7.59 on the same gun on the T-44. It's 8 on this, so that is nice, a bit of an increase in rate of fire. And you get an increase in penetration up to 190 from 183, so not a big jump, only 7, but it does make a difference. 250 on your damage, 247, 250 on your premium, 50, 330 on your HE, which are the same as the yeah, 247. That is the same as the normal T-44. Aiming time, I think, is also got better. In fact, I need to just check that. Oh no, sorry, 247 is better than it is on the T-44, like it's 235, and yeah, the aiming time is better on the T-44-100 at 2 seconds as opposed to 2.3. So yeah, the gun handling itself is better apart from the accuracy, but the the aim time, the penetration on your premium and standard rounds, and an increase of rate of fire on that gun really is welcome. And with the terrain resistances being so good, and the hull traverse being increased, I've not really noticed a massive difference in speed, to be perfectly honest. You can notice it more going uphill. That's where it'll really sort of be a bit more noticeable. But other than that, on sort of your standard terrain and what have you, slight inclines, I've not really noticed a great deal of difference in mobility. To be perfectly honest, I'd rather take the increase in the gun stats and that slight, ever so slight drop in mobility, or engine power, should I say, on this tank, because I am enjoying this medium. But like I said, I do enjoy the T-44. If you don't like the normal T-44, there's a damn good chance you're probably not going to like this either, even with those increased gun stats. But yeah, an increase in hull traverse of 51 degrees over, I think it's something like 44, if memory serves me, on the T-44. Same turret armour, same turret traverse at 48, and same view range of 380. And I think the signal range is about the same as well. But we'll just check just to make sure. It is 44 on the hull, I was right, and yeah, signal range is, well, a little bit less, 30 metres. But other than that, it's the same. I've gone for standard setup on my equipment for my mediums, which is a vertical stabiliser if I can have it, a gun rammer and coated optics, I just feel that mediums benefit from an increase in view range. And skill wise, well, it's a bit different with this one, with this account. It is a little bit difficult because obviously I've got all the skills on here. But I think I'm trying to remember what I've got on my T-44. Obviously camouflage, sixth sense, brothers in arms. I've got repairs. I've got situational awareness. I think I've even got smooth ride possibly as well for firing on the move, which I don't do very often in it, but it does come in handy every now and again. But it's with the skills now, it's really down to sort of personal preference on a lot of them, with how you like to set up your tanks. These are the ones that I go for, and that's it. Supplies wise, when I get into it, there we go. 252 for your standard rounds, so nice and cheap on those. 4,400 for your APCR, which is a bit pricey it seems, compared to the 252 for your standard, and then 252 for your HE again. And again, I've just stuck premium consumables on here because it's this, the press account. So I can. So I'm taking advantage of it. Why not? But yeah, like I say, it's nice. And again, I think I prefer this to the normal T-44 the reason I prefer it to the normal T-44 is that slight increase in gun stats. It's been very welcome. It's also worth noting as well, this has 50 more health points than the normal T-44, which has 1,300 when fully upgraded. This has 1,350. Not a lot, but that could be the difference between staying alive and dying. So again, welcome. In fact, I've just... Oh yeah, it's got a 1 kilometre an hour higher top speed as well. For what that's worth. Stationary concealment is 0.32 and moving is 0.25, so it's quite a stealthy tank. It's quite low profile, and don't forget that will be increased over the standard version of this because this has that perma camo on. They do take that into account usually with the concealment. Now, power to weight ratio 15.52. Like I said before, it's roughly about 5 horsepower per ton less than the T-44, which is it's just over 20. I think it's like 20.3 something or 20.5 something. So it is slightly slower. 1 kilometre an hour quicker for what that's worth. 20 in reverse, and again a 15% chance of fire. It's still got the engine compartment, sort of engine components in the front, which I think, if I remember again rightly, is a gas tank possibly. And then you've got the quite a small engine at the back actually. Doesn't take up the whole back of the tank, so if you are shooting the engine from the side, you want to be aiming just below the rear of the turret. Gun wise, again, elevation isn't a problem. That's not too bad at 23 degrees. Gun depression -7, the same as on the normal T-44. I think it's better than it used to be. And again, it's better than some of these other Russian tanks. But it's not as good as your Americans and some of the the German ones, but it's better than Chinese. So it's not bad depression, not bad gun depression, especially for a Russian tank. But again, just similar to the to the T-44. Terrain resistances, though, this is where, well, this quite a big difference between this and the normal T-44, and that really does make up for quite a bit of the loss in power. Normally when there's a difference in terrain resistances like this, it doesn't seem to make up much of a difference in smaller engines on some of these premiums, but with this one it kind of does, because they're so good. It's 0.5, 0.6 and 1.5, and on the T-44 it's 1, 1.2 and I think 2.2. So yeah, much better terrain resistances, and it does go towards making up for that lack of engine power. Turret on top. The radio is just in the side of the turret. Again, I think that's the same location on the normal T-44, and on this profile you can actually see that extra lump of armour just on the side of the turret, which the T-54 first prototype has, but on this it doesn't count as anything as far as I'm aware. It just shows as a standard armour thickness there. Ammunition blocks down in the hull, again same place as the T-44, which is understandable, one behind that gas tank and then roughly in the middle of the turret, roughly about the height of the top of the tracks. Crew members, you've got the driver down in the front and then the commander, gunner and loader up in the turret, and it is worth also noting that the commander's hatch on this is very, very small, just like it is on the T-54 first prototype and the T-44, to be fair, although the turret is a bit flatter on this than the T-44, and again that's why it kind of reminds me of the T-54 first prototype. Now, armour profile is the same, well, it's the same basic figures. When I can find my phone, there we are. Right, same basic figures as the normal T-44. So you're looking at 120 on the front of the turret, 100 on the side, 100 on the rear, and the hull itself is 90, 75, and 45. So yeah, same basic figures, but you do have the addition of the side plates, which will help a little bit, and like I said before, the turret is flatter as well. So let's have a look at these brackets, and again, with these armour brackets, somebody tweeted me about an armour inspector, which I'm going to look into, because these armour brackets leave a lot of guesswork. I mean, they could be 1mm thick, those side plates, they could be 20mm thick. That's a big difference. And, you know, with some of these other brackets, it's a huge difference. You know, 29mm there. That's a big difference, 29mm, if you don't have an accurate figure between, you know, penning and bouncing or even overmatching with certain guns. So it really would be nice to have a more accurate armour viewer in-game. But anyway, 1:20, tracks, side plates, hull floor, top of the turret, top of the commander's hatch, engine deck, front deck. Usual spots, to be honest, and again, same sort of placement as it is on the normal T-44, 21-30, thin strip across the upper and lower rear glacis, or the upper and lower rear of the tank, if you will. You've got some small amounts just on top of the turret, side of the gun mantle as well, and just underneath the rear of the turret. 31-50 is, well, the rear panel of the back of the tank. A thin strip, is that on the commander's hatch, or is that just, I'm not entirely sure. It does look like it, a thin strip around the commander's hatch, and again just on top of where the gun mantle is, even though it's kind of mantleless. 51-70 is somewhere. There we go. Christmas garage colours go a bit funny, and it's a bit trickier for me to see them with me being colourblind, but it's just underneath the gun mantle, and I think that's just it, actually. 71-90 is whole upper lower glacis, sides of the tank, and again a bit misleading because of the bracket. You know, the front's 90, the sides are 75, they all fall into the same bracket, so it is quite misleading with that one, and the commander's hatch falls in there as well. But again, it's the same basic makeup as the T-44, so if you're used to the T-44, your turret's generally going to just bounce the same stuff as it would in a normal T-44, same as the tank and what have you. Armour wise, it is just essentially the same sort of makeup as a T-44, so treat it as such when you're driving it, and when you're shooting against it as well. But 91-120 is basically the whole of the turret. The turret roof is thin, but with it being flatter, it's harder to sort of hit an overmatch, which you can kind of do on the T-44 if you aim better. But generally, the stuff that the T-44 comes up against, they'll have better choices of where to shoot one and pen one. But it is just straight, basic sort of flat armor figures around the top. There's no extra tracks or anything like that. So there you go. Like I say, same sort of makeup as the T-44. But anyway, let's get into the gameplay and see how it actually handles. Right, so here we are for the first replay. It's a tier 10 match on port, and nothing outstanding in this one. It's just sort of a bit of an average match, just to show. I suppose it shows how this does in tier 10 matches. You can do all right. The team, it's a bit of a, I don't know. I don't think anybody's at fault. It's just one of those matches where, like, sort of, I don't know, where you sort of kind of don't expect the team to be. They have a bit of a stronger force there, if you see what I mean. Anyway, regardless of that, before I forget as well, and I meant to mention this in the review yesterday as well, with me having this press account for a little bit, I think I've got it until mid-January. I was going to do a sort of a short series, or well, see how much I can get out of it actually, in regards to how much time I get and how long it takes me to do each one. It might be that I can get 2 or 3 videos worth of footage in a day, you see, depending on what it is. But what it was, because I've got all those tanks on that press account, any challenges sort of thing, like for example, Edward challenged me. This is before I got the press account. It's when I was doing my Swedish tier 10, which obviously I'll be getting back to as well. I'm just trying to get the heating fixed and everything and all that good stuff. But he's challenged me to basically go in the, I think it's the tier 5 Swedish TD, and use nothing but HE ammo and see, how well I can do in that. That sort of thing. A while ago, Quickie Baby did one where, I think it was Quickie Baby anyway, and he did one where he basically went in the Waffenträger V100, the Waffle Dragon, and I think it was the big gun he got on it, is it the 155, something like that, but anyway, the bigger gun, and he wanted to see how well he could do firing nothing but HE ammo out of the Waffle Dragon. So that sort of thing. So if there's anything in there, I'm not, I've given you a couple of examples, but yeah, sort of anything you can think of, or anything you want me to go in that I've not been in before, or tanks I've not had before, and just say, oh yeah, I want to see how you're doing this, or see what you think to this, you've not had this one or whatever. But yeah, just any challenges, leave it in a comment on this video, and I'll see if I can do it and try and sort of do a little mini series of videos and that sort of thing to do with that. So the first one I'm going to do obviously is the tier 5. I think it's the tier 5 anyway. I've got it on my PSN messages, but yeah, it's the Swedish TD. That's the first one I'm going to have a go at. Firing nothing but HE. But yeah, any challenges like that, just drop them in the comments, and I'll do what I can to try and do it. Anyway, back to this. As you can see, over on that north-western corner, things have gone badly. There weren't many of us across there anyway, which is why I'd sort of gone across there to try and provide a bit of backup. I managed to do a bit of damage to a couple of the tier 10s, but 250 per shot, it seems to have barely scratched them. So I'm heading back down this way, and as you can see, I mean, it's quick enough. I'm maintaining that top speed. I know it's sort of, it's good going on here. It's hard terrain, or yeah, I suppose. Depends on how you want to say. Is it hard terrain or easy terrain? But anyway, regardless of that, yeah, you can see it keeps its speed up. There is a slight difference in the acceleration, but it's barely noticeable, if you get my meaning. But that extra rate of fire, just ever so slight, and that extra little bit of pen does make a difference with this tank, and I do like it. And I think, see, I was going to get the German King Tiger, which I know is out of the store now, but it's still on the PSN store. And I know I said about the prices on these, but they are very, very tempting. And my wife is, saying, "What do you want for Christmas?" So I don't know. I do like this tank. I do like the KV4K as well. So I don't know. And I'm not. I know it sounds a bit hypocritical going on, oh yeah, the price is too high on them, which it is. I'm going to track this guy and get around behind him because although he's got a turret, I know it's not fully traversable. But yeah, the price is high on them, and I think they need to go back to keeping the hero tanks every now and again rather than every new release, every new tank release being a hero tank. Because it does have that higher price, and I think it is starting to get on people's nerves a bit now. Or do what I said in the garage, you know, just bring them out at the same time because people who want Hero 1 will buy it, you know, simple as that. But there you go, not a great match, just under 2,000 damage, but I did come top of the table. In fact, it looks like the team didn't do particularly well there in that match. But again, it was just sort of an average match to show you kind of how it can fare up against some of these bigger tanks, the tier 10s and what have you. So yeah, nothing spectacular. But as with the Vizilla, yeah, the Vizilla review yesterday, I have got an ace tanker replay for you as well. Again, I don't think there was anything particularly exciting that happened in it. It was just a sort of fairly solid match damage wise. And I don't put too much faith in ace tankers when these tanks have first come out, because they are, you know, the bar is set a bit lower because not many people have them. But it's still it's still an alright amount of damage, and it's a tier 9 match as well. And after my initial cock up with trying to get out of there and blocking the RC and what have you, I'm now on my way. And as I was going across here, I actually thought to myself, because I'm so used to going this way in tanks with good gun depression and good turrets, and I sort of got to about this point and I thought, why am I going this way in this? You know, it's not got particularly good gun depression and it's not got a particularly strong turret. You know, this might be a bit of a downfall, but I thought I'll see what happens, see what's up here, and I can always maneuver. It's quick enough to get around. And like I say, you know, like I mentioned in the garage, the terrain resistances on this are absolutely fantastic, and does go quite a way actually to making up for that lesser power to weight ratio. And I'm just going to get up this way. You can see that Brazilian bounced. It doesn't look like he's firing HE because he would have done some splash damage, I would have thought, although he may be. I'm not entirely sure. What do they have on those? I can't remember. Is it it's a HEP round, isn't it? It's some like high explosive plastic head or something, or high explosive plastic. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, but I would have thought that it would have done some splash damage. All it seemed to do was just damage my tracks a little bit. Maybe because of where he hit me, I don't know, but normally you get a bit of splash from that, from an HE damaging your track. Took a bit of a speculative shot at that Centurion. He was popping up and down and it was a bit iffy. Probably, you know, was never going to hit him, but it was worth a shot. It made him keep his head down a bit, and he's now moved on to somewhere else. But we've got a Tiger 2 and a Centurion 1, and that was a Centurion 7-1. Now coming up this way, and I'm just staying back a bit. I'm trying to keep something a bit more solid in between. I mean, I know those buildings are destructible, but if one of them starts all of a sudden exploding, I know that something's shooting at me from over near the my voice is going, hang on, and there we go. Yeah, I know that something will be shooting at me from over near the enemy cap, because there is normally TDs, etc. on that hill that can cover over this way. But where I was, the only way really to get shots in at those guys was to go up and over, and that's probably not a good idea in this, so I'm manoeuvring. I'm trying to get round to try and shoot into the flanks, rather than just keep going at them head on, try and get another position. I mean, that's it. If what you're doing isn't working, try something else. And I just knew that that wasn't going to work going over there, because as I'm coming up over, they're just going to put shots into me, and I'm firing at the front of them. So, from here, I'm able to get shots into their side as they're sort of moving up and down. The Tiger, he's clocked on, and he's taking a shot at me, but I'm not in a bad position over here. Trying to put one into the side of that Centurion, but I missed. Just keep pulling back a little bit, keeping an eye on the map on the left. We've got a TD just behind me, and left slightly. but nothing's looking at me at the moment. But I don't know, I've just got a horrible feeling there's got to be something up near the enemy cap on that hill. And I am being targeted, and now they've popped up on the map, and I am taking a risk, but I've still got all my health. That was frustrating. That looked like the IS-3 got ammo right next to me, actually, when I came up there. All the sparks coming out of the turret. That certainly looked like it. We've got a T-29 up there, and there is a TD up there as well. And kind of, yeah, I kind of fooled myself a bit on this, because it's a Scorpion, and I just saw the word Scorpion. I didn't quite register how it was spelt, and I actually thought that it was the M56 Scorpion. Is it the American TD? I think the Tier 7 American TD. I actually just assumed it was. I just saw Scorpion. I thought, yeah, that's it, because I'm so used to seeing Scorpion G. But of course, the Scorpion G apparently is just the one with the Scorpion paint job and, you know, the sandy colour. The normal one is just the Scorpion, apparently. So yeah, I really should pay attention to how it's spelled. In fact, I can't quite see because my preview window is small. But if that was spelled with a C, then that's wrong. The Scorpion G should be a K. But anyway, R2 had a go at me. So after I'd taken out the Tiger, and quite a lucky shot on that Waffenträger, actually. I was expecting one in the face from him. I decided to go and take down Artie, because he's going to be a threat. I do take a shot in the back from the Hurlenhund, and then he rams me as well, and I've actually lost quite a bit of health straight off there. And now he's circling me, and come on, one more shot into him. Damages ammo rack, and no, it's spelled with a K. The Scorpion gets me. I don't know. I was kind of expecting the Hurlenhund. I know I'd got my front to him there to try and protect. Well, put my thickest armour forwards. But yeah, the Scorpion got me in the side, focusing a bit too much on RT, then a bit too much on the light. But there you go. Not too bad though. 3,800 damage. I'm happy with that. And topping a tier 9. Also happy with that. But there you go. The Volk T-44-100. I like it, but I am a little bit biased because I like the T-44. But yeah, the tank itself, you know, nothing else, just the tank itself, ignoring price and everything, I like it, and it's a decent tank and an improvement, personally, I think, on the T-44. But there you go. I hope you've enjoyed that. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with another video for you. So until then, take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.